We are back. We are back. It's been a bit of a break, but we are now back for some fabulous One Hub racing action. We are here for the P1 tier around Melbourne, Australia. It's a reformed Albert Park circuit that hosts the pre-season race for this evening. Not every driver is here, not every driver is in the correct team, we've been informed, but it's a pre-season race. We'll get to see people's pace, and we'll get to see what we can expect for the rest of the season. And for the rest of the season, and for tonight, I am joined by Matthew once again. It's another season of us. How are you doing?
It's great to be back, especially back with you in the box calling this fantastic team. I'm sure it will be, but yeah, it's all ready to go in the pre-season, and hopefully the drivers will be in mid-season form at the end of this one. But it's fantastic to be back.
Yeah, it's fantastic to be back. Of course, tonight is not the be-all and end-all of results if you do have a bad one or you do win the race. We have to wait and see, of course, for round one next week around the Shanghai International Circuit. But for tonight, anyways, let's focus on Albert Park, because it's a very tricky circuit on this game. We could see some spins, we could see some incidents, and we're certainly seeing some new drivers. Of course, cross-play fully enabled for this season. We have 3 PC drivers here. One was on the PS, it was J. Cole, our winner of the P2 tier last season, but we're on board with ERT Timo for the first lap of the season. He's run a bit wide through turn number 1, so we won't comment on that. But we are getting ready for the new season. Of course, a lot of the rules have stayed the same. It is 2 mandatory pit stops. There's engine wear once again. Top 12 score points. It's a fairly similar system as to last season. No big advancements in the rules, because the rules work, so there's no reason to change them. However, the calendar is much different. There's a lot of new tracks, starting off in China and Portugal. Of course, 2 tracks that were added to the game after last One Hub racing season started, and there's a lot of returning favourites as well that we'll see later on in the season. But we're on board with Timo for a lap now as he heads through the turn 11 and 12. It was slightly reformed in the update of 2021 in real life. Obviously, not a game update in real life. They did remodel the Albert Park circuit, especially this turn 13 of Ascari and in towards turn 14 of Stewart. Of course, all the corners in this Albert Park circuit are named after former F1 drivers. So there's a little fun fact. Owen Wyatt's ended his session early, so that's not a good start for Owen Wyatt, and the Aston Martin's out.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate, but of course, with the pre-season, sometimes if you've been to a track you haven't been to for quite a while, then unfortunately accidents and incidents do happen. But I'm sure Owen will bounce back fairly quickly in the race. He usually tends to do that, and last season I know he started off pre-season fantastically and then had a bit of a downturn after that. But yeah, hopefully maybe this season he can have a bit of a shocker in pre-season and get better through the season.
Yeah, of course, Owen White won last race of the P2 tier last season in Bahrain. It was a shootout between J. Cole Larkin and, I cannot remember the other guy's name, which is probably bad, but it was a fabulous shootout with the 2 Red Bulls, won by J. Cole in the end, and J. Cole currently tops this session with a 1:17.840. Links coming around the final turn 14 corner. My track map beside me says 16, but there is only 14 corners, as here comes Links. Are always invalidated the lap, actually, so he won't be coming across the line. Here comes Ryder Dell. Oh, he's invalidated as well. So, as Matthew said, a lot of mistakes early on here in the session, as to be expected in a pre-season race. Here comes Tico rounding the final 2 corners in towards the final corner. Now you gotta just delay getting on the power here, or else you will spin round. Here comes the Mercedes across the line now, and it's a top time of 1:17.5 for the man who was very successful in the P1 tier last season, in season 21.
Yes, he's gonna be looking to continue where he left off, of course, but we have no idea how the people behind him that aren't here this week for various reasons, how they would figure into the grid slots as well. So how would they cope next week when we go racing for real? But for now, that's a very good time to start the session, especially probably your first solid effort of the day. And what's can Merck do as he goes across the line to beat that time by a little tiny margin?
Oh, that's close. Merck beats it. He's a 1:17.4 now. It was a 1:17.5 for Tico. We saw Namsco have a bit of a spin. We're now on board with Lynx, rounding in towards the penultimate corner and then to the final corner. The McLaren is It's a decent car around here in real life. It did quite well in the real Australian Grand Prix. Of course, that has no representation in the game, as Lynx goes across the line with 117.7. It's Dutch Tricks, though, who beats at 117.441, and Mercedes now first and third, both Dutch drivers, I would imagine, by the first part of that PSN. So they will be ones who are probably one of the favourites for the Constructors' title. Of course, we know a lot of top drivers do pair off with each other here in One Hub Racing. Of course, there was the P1 Tier 2 seasons ago with Montana and Shazoo Tom, who were both a very, very successful partnership. Namsco having another attempt here as he heads down towards turn number 3 and 4.
Yep, he's put a banker lap in of a 152.0, so that's definitely going to be improved upon later on in the session. But I guess for driver's confidence, it's always good to get a time on the board, because then you can push a little bit more later on in the session. Hopefully not as much as Valtteri Bottas did in his Mercedes when he still drove for them a couple of seasons ago around this track. It's probably more than that, actually, given that I haven't been there for a while. What you know, the incident I'm talking about. But yeah, it's looking like a pretty solid effort at this point, as he's just finished his Sector 2 and into Sector 3. He should definitely improve. There's a slow-moving McLaren on the right, or just get out of the way nicely for him at just the right time. Maybe he got a little bit of a slipstream down the straight as well, which could always help with the overall time, as he's just coming into the penultimate corner now, which I used to love. It's never really changed, which is good. I like the corner. There's some corners that have changed, and there's some corners that don't exist anymore. What can he do, though, as he goes across the line?
Much better.
17.7.
Yeah, it's much better for Namsco. He'll spin through that high-speed chicane of 11 and 12 on his last run. Oh, he's wobbly all over the place, but it's a much better run for the AlphaTauri's AlphaTauri teammate. AXA is teeing up for a bit of a lap here as we round the final corner. We're going to stay on board with the AlphaTauri. There's no one else really on a flyer. Timo actually is on a bit of a flyer, but we'll go to him. Here comes AXA, though. He's going to be downshifting, and you got to brake a lot earlier than usual for this turn number 1, because you can't run as wide on the curb. In towards turn number 2 of Alan Jones, the former, of course, F1 driver. In towards 3 and 4, slightly remodelled. You can see there's more curb on the inside and there's more exit. This one practically the same, few new coloured curbs on it, but that's about it. In towards the right-hander of Whitfold. And now the very, very changed corners of 6 and 7. There goes AXA 0.3 of a second up. This is not a bad job so far for the AlphaTauri. It's absolutely flat here. What used to be the Clark chicane, it is now it's a moment to stretch your legs. It's a moment to take a breather before you hit this 11 and 12 chicane. Really, really difficult couple of corners. Still improving the second sector split. You gotta nail this one, otherwise your car's going round or your car's going into the gravel, just like Carlos Sainz was this season, braking just after the 100-metre board for a right-hander, 90-degree right-hander it is, in before you hit the next corner of Stewart and in towards the penultimate corner that Matthew quite likes. So there's your fun fact for the day. That is Prost corner there, in towards the final corner now. No name on it, but a tricky corner nevertheless, and across the line comes AXA. He's gonna go across, and he is going to improve onto the second row of the grid. That is P3. Not bad. Here comes Jamie Mells to start. Oh, he's only starting a lap. Thought he was finishing one. Lakitu invalidating another run. Lakitu back in the P1 tier where he wants to be, and hopefully we see some more good performances from Lakitu. But that was AXA. That's a good lap, and that's P4 in the grid.
Yep, good lap, good improvements, and I'm sure he'll take a lot of heart from that. As you say, Jamie Mells has just started a lap in the Haas. No idea who his teammate's going to be.
Ryder Dahl improves to the top. That's a good performance by Ryder Dahl. He's gone for a 17.1. He smashed that pole time by Dutch Tricks, but not a bad job there by the Red Bull. As, as you were saying, we don't really know whose teammates were who yet, because they're not all confirmed.
No. Absolutely, and that's the beauty of pre-season. We're just looking to see what we can find out, and the stories will write themselves later on in the season. Hopefully, for the media to pay attention to the media activities that we do in One Hub Racing.
Oh, we do have some teammates. I have found a nice little graphic We've some teammates. We have Tico and Dutch Tricks. We've Ryder Dahl not having a teammate. Jake Hall and Larkin team up once again. However, they are in Scarlet Ferrari colours. Legend and ERT Lynx. And then it is Corey, SNM, and ERT Team Hoaxa and Namsco. Namsco used to be in the FER Esports team. That's where they know each other. Jamie Mel's a little bit off the pace there in the Haas. As we do see Dutch Tricks on a bit of a run now. We'll keep running you through the grid. It's Owen Wyatt and ERT Samba. That's an old partnership. Back at Aston Martin, it is then Merckx and Cass at the Williams Racing team, both PC drivers, I believe. It's then Lakitu, Ian Alfa Romeo, and Jamie Mells and Haas, both not having teammates as of right now. Of course, that'll be sorted for next week. With Dutch Tricks teaming up with Tico, they're definitely some of the favourites so far for the championship. All teams really have an even chance, as J. Cole and Larkin. If J. Cole can keep up the pace he's showing so far in pre-season qualifying into the rest of the season, he certainly has a good chance at another One Hub championship. But at the end of the day, it's only pre-season qualifying. It's really not the be-all and end-all, and we will see some drivers like Legend still performing, as Dutch Tricks runs a bit wide there. Very lucky not to invalidate.
Oh! And that's Tico, who's just kissed the wall as well. Got a little bit...
Oh, and his teammates almost done the exact same thing round the final corner. This is not going to be an improvement for Tricks. It's a tenth of a second improvement. It's not a positional improvement, and Merck goes up to second. Both Mercedes making a couple of errors there on that lap, and they're going to have to improve on this. Oh, I'm not sure if Tico's just cutting back to the pits. But that's not the line you take through there. I'm sure we'd all love to take a faster line through that corner, but that's certainly not the one. As Namsco on another run now, he's 0.4 of a second up in the first sector. We'll see a second sector split right about now. As there it is. Oh, 0.5 of a second up. This could be a good run for Namsco. Very quick driver. I commentated on him. Oh, it was about almost 2 years ago at this point, back in another league. He was certainly quick then, won the championship. Expect him to be quick here, as he's just hit the 60-second mark on his lap, rounding in towards the penultimate corner. Of course, it's much quicker lap times than the lap record of the old circuit. It was a 1:24.125 by Michael Schumacher in 2004 was the official lap record of the old circuit. It's a much quicker lap time here, as here comes Namsco to the top. It's a 17 flat. We're almost into the 16s.
Yeah, when Ryder Dahl did that time, I thought that's going to take some beating, but I think that 17-0 there will take some beating, but there are quite a few drivers that look like they could be capable of doing that. And if have a look how many drivers have done a 17 today already. The top 8 have a 17.7 or lower, so that could be, you know, a sign to watch for later on in the session, although there's not too much to go. There's just under 5 minutes to go, plus a little bit of change. And I think if you're not out on track now, you'll be certainly getting your final preparations complete, as Dutch Tricks, after his incident, decides to put on some new tyres, comes into the pit, and we only have Jinx out on track, I think, on an out lap, and of course Namsco just did that lap, so he may well be confident, and will probably be heading for a little bit of a sit-down.
Yeah, well, I do realise I've been saying Lynx. Jinx and Lynx are two different people. I'd just like to clarify. There is an ERT Lynx, so I'm not total idiot. But this is Jinx in the McLaren rounding the final corner as he heads in towards turn number 1. Can't see Namsco going for another run. That will be it probably for the AlphaTauri. Is Lynx rounding through turn number 1 on a fresh set of boots. It's not been the best qualifying so far by the McLaren. But once again, we are going to specify not the end of the world around Australia, because you can win from off the front row. Of course, Lewis Hamilton qualified on pole position. Oh, Jinx just wide, but Lewis Hamilton qualified on pole position every race from 2014 to 2019, and he only won once. That was in 2015. Of course, I remember the controversial VSC strategy Sebastian Vettel pulled off in 2017, back when being controversial was very simple in Formula 1. It's a lot more confusing and easy thing to do nowadays, but Ryder Dahl is the only man other than Jinx on a lap. Oh, Jamie Mells is about to start a lap now as well, and Ryder Dahl is actually on an out lap. That's just that glitch on the left hand side. Here comes Jamie Melson entering in towards turn number 1, representing the Scuderia Rosso esports team, formerly LF4. I think Scuderia Rosso sounds much better than Latium Formula Racing, but that's up to everyone's opinion. Braking for turn number 3, then we'll see what the Haas can do. One of quite a few PC drivers actually this season. There is a lot of drivers coming in with the new cross-play system. It's a system that is not 100% up to scratch, but it's much better than it would have been this time last season. Great run through sector number 1 by Jamie Mells. He's improving, and he's going to get a bit of a slipstream by the car in front. That Mercedes is toddling along on the racing line, pulls away to the right hand side. That's where the racing line isn't, through that flat out section of track. So Jamie Mells does get a bit of a run here in towards 11 and 12. He's 3/10 of a second up, doesn't push it fully. That's a safe thing to do through there when you're this late in the session and you don't really have the most representative of lap times on the board. Heading in towards Ascari then of 13, not to be confused with the chicane in Monza, and then Stewart of 14 under the Crypto.com bridge. Rounding through here, it's a good little run this by Jamie Mells. He'll be happy with it. Oh, never mind. Never mind, that's a bit of a lock-up. Not going to be too happy with that. There's going to be a bit of time lost in that one. Very tricky corner for these no-assist players. And across the line comes Jamie Mells. Where's it going to put him? It's going to put him on 8th place on the grid. It's not the best result, not the end of the world, as Ryder Dahl is gearing up for another lap. J. Cole has... Oh, J. Cole's no front wing. Qualifying over for J. Cole. He's made a mistake on his out lap here.
Yes, it's always unfortunate to make a mistake, but when you push in just to try and get that little 10th of a second performance, then these things can easily happen. But J. Cole will be having all kinds of issues as he tries to get back to the pits, and sometimes you never know if they have a front ring or not, because the colour of the car combination is a little bit weird. But that is definitely no front ring, and of course no Taz for us this week in the pre-season. It's just having a pre-season tune-up of its own, and hopefully, I'm sure next week we will have Taz and we will be able to tell you exactly the damage of all the cars that we see in each and every race session. And it's a fantastic...
Ryder Dahl's out. Ryder Dahl has crashed out of the session there, and Timo has invalidated his lap. We're looking at Tico now, not Timo. He's pushing it through 11 and 12, and it's about a 10th of a second improvement from Tico here. He's not quite close to that lap from Namsco, but we'll see what his third sector can provide in towards here, and then in towards a very tricky final sector. About 35% on the battery. You use a lot of battery around this track. It's surprising when there's not many heavy braking zones, hence why you don't use a lot of it. J. Cole out of the session as well. He wasn't head on track. However, here comes Tico to the line. What can the Mercedes do? It's the front row of the grid for Tico. Let's see what his teammate has to say. Absolutely nothing is what he says about it, because he's backed off. He's 18 seconds, could get another run in. Merckx improving. He's improving enough for pole position here. We'll see what his first sector told. No, that was his last lap. He's still in the first sector. Oh, it's not enough for a pole position so far. It's marginal. It's not even enough for a position so far for Merckx. Namsco has got another lap in, so if he can improve on that 17 flat, we will get a time in the 16s, hopefully, to round off the session. A lot of guys standing late laps here. Timo has got another attempt in it despite invalidating, and he's ran wide there, but no invalidation this time round. Lakitu has invalidated, still pushing, just try to get a time on the board. Tico is done here in the session. Merckx marginally improving. There's not a lot, but he may still take third position off Ryder Dahl, even with a marginal improvement. Rounding in towards Stewart of 14, and then under that F1 sponsorship in towards a very tricky braking zone. Hooks it up much better than who did we see? Jamie Mells did, locking it up in through there, but here comes the Williams and Merckx rounding the final corner. Is it even close to pole position for Merckx across the line? Oh, it's the front row. Oh, it's unbelievably close on the front row of the grid. Just look at that one. That is outstanding how close he's put it to Namsco. It's not quite good enough. Axa is improving in the other AlphaTauri. We'll see if Namsco can then improve. He's just behind. You can see there in the background heading through that Ascari corner. Here comes Axa in towards this braking zone. We saw Merckx gaining a lot of time through this final sector, so that's obviously where he lost it on his first lap. Dutch Tricks cannot do anything. That's Jinx gone round. He's jinxed himself there through the final corner. Here comes Axa now across the line as Jinx has just been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Namsco improves by 0.3 of a second almost, and that is a 1:16.786 pole position for the pre-season race, and by a margin as well. Namsco takes the top, but Merckx was close to it, so Namsco did need to get that lap in just for a bit of comfort. However, he has taken it very, very comfortably indeed.
Yes, he has, and excuse me there. Yes, I gasped in the middle of one of your runs is because Dutch Tricks, you saw him slow down. He slowed down too much and didn't make it over the line for another run, so he hampered himself there. He did what Lewis Hamilton did in Japan famously a few seasons ago as well. He just slowed down too much to try and get another run and just ran out of time. So he will be starting in 6th place. So that was Fast and Furious qualifying session, and if that's a sign of things to come this season, I think we're going to have a very, very good time of it once again.
Yeah, really, really close there from about second to fifth. Second to sixth, I suppose you could even say. Very close. But it's pole position from Amsco for AlphaTauri. It's a good start to the season for him. He'll be looking to keep up this form. It's Merckx in second, followed by Tico in third, and then it is Ryder Dahl who'll start fourth. Didn't get a lot proper final run-ins. Keep an eye on Ryder Dahl. J. Cole in fifth, followed by Dutch Tricks in sixth. Axel will start seventh. Jamie Mells will start in eighth. Timo will start in ninth. Lakitu will start in 10th, and then it will be Owen White who crashed down on his opening lap, and then Jinx, of course, getting disqualified in the session. He'll start from 12th. And now I will cut across to Matthew, and we'll have a quick word about our sponsors.
Yes, thank you. So, for the first time this season, we have our wonderful partners and sponsors here at One Hub Racing, and I'll start with the sponsors as always. We have Next Level Racing, who sponsor the league by providing prizes, and then we have Pure Sim Gear, who sponsor the league by providing a new product not yet launched to the driver with the most podiums, so that sounds very exciting. And of course, back with us again for another season is Gamergoo, who sponsor the league by providing samples of their Gamergoo to trophy winners. And I think it's a new sponsor here. We have Asetec Sim Sports, sponsor the league by providing a multitude of prizes with different ways to win them. For example, the driver with the most fastest lap wins a set of forward pedals, and the driver with the shortest combined qualifying time wins a set of pedals and boots. And of course, we have our partners of Vespertine, who support our official apparel, ERT partner, the ERT Going Get Stuff Award and League trophies, and of course, once again, riding with SimGrid, who run our seasons through their community and platform and put them into one cool little one hub place for us to check everything and make it easier to find all the things that we need to. So thank you for that, and an advance shout out to our TAS people who are working behind the scenes to get it up and ready for next week. So it looks like a bit of a blue sky.
I'm very jealous of the people who get to win the prizes. I won't lie, they're very, very cool. It's a sunny afternoon here in Melbourne. Of course, if this was real life, it would be probably about 5 a.m. where me and Matthew are. But it's a fabulous racetrack awaiting us. 5.278 kilometres, 3.279 miles. 14 corners or 16 corners, it's debated, really, whether they count the new little flat-out curves as corners. And an Australian driver has never finished on the podium here in Melbourne. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo did back in 2014, but he was disqualified after the race. So unfortunately, the history books do not agree with the Australian faithful. The closest anyone has come is Daniel Ricciardo, tied with Mark Webber for fourth. Webber finishing fourth on one occasion, that was in 2014. No, it wasn't in 2014 because he retired the season before. So that stat is actually wrong, and I shouldn't be reading everything off paper, clearly. It was Daniel Ricciardo who finished fourth on 2 occasions. Doesn't seem like we're loading in here. We can report Dutch Tricks is starting on the medium compound of tyres. Hopefully we do get loaded in any moment soon.
Yeah, that was almost a superlative effort with the stats. I think the date, of course, Mark Webber's first season was in the early 2000s, so maybe you meant 2004?
Yeah, maybe. I have written down 2014. Oh no, that's the Daniel Ricciardo one. I don't actually have a year written down. Okay, so I've just made that up and made myself sound like an idiot. So that's my first blunder. It's pre-season for us too.
Yeah.
So we'll see, can we get going? Any moment now, not too sure. It could be someone's Wi-Fi that's slowing us down. We'll have to wait and see what the issue is here. We'll try to get it resolved, but it's sunny nevertheless.
Yeah, I'm trying to see down the pit lane to see if I can see any more hints of tyres, but the only one we can see are Dutch Tricks' tyres. They're in the first garage, as you see on the right-hand side of your screens now. But I'm sure whatever strategies they go for, remember, it is a mandatory 2-stop, so I don't think it really matters, but I think medium, soft is the way to go. And if there's a safety car, you can adjust on the fly and see what happens. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any rain. The people in the crowd are well up for this one. Look at them. They're going mad for no action. Just imagine how intense they're going to be when they see the cars going wheel to wheel into turn 1 in a few moments' time.
Yeah, the Australian crowd absolutely love this Grand Prix. They normally average around 300,000 fans a weekend. However, it was over 400,000, the best attendance since the Grand Prix first started in 1996 here at Albert Park. That's, of course, it was cancelled for a couple of years before due to the coronavirus, and we are hoping to get going. No reports from any drivers that there's any issues, so we might have just loaded in early, and we'll have to wait and see. Accent was actually asking if it is a two-stop, as yes, J. Cole has said. Oh, hold on a second, I just remembered something. They're not allowed ready up until the admin tells them. that's what the thing is. Colin, I believe, forgot to tell them, but yeah, Colin is not racing tonight. Colin or Mason, he's in the lobby, but he is suffering with a bit of a toothache, so we do hope Colin gets better soon. Whether a formation lap is on or not for this season, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully we get into the action fairly quickly. We're loading in now for 3, 2, and 1. We'll see, is the formation lap on or not? We'll find out quickly. It is not. We're going to go straight in. 4 and 5 red lights. And we go racing here in Australia. A bit of a pause, but now we go here for the pre-season race in One Hub Racing. Great start by Tico. He's got to get alongside Merckx in towards turn number 1. Mercedes up the inside as well at Dutch Tricks. There's no Tricks into turn number 1, however, but there is for Owen White, who's gone up the inside of AXA. Jamie Mel's battling with Jinx, Timo and Lakitu. Lakitu's off the road here. Lakitu is going very, very slowly in towards turn number 3. Whether he's picked up some damage or what's gone on there, not quite sure at this moment in time, but Dutch Tricks is all over the back of Merckx here. Merckx has already lost one position to Tico. He may lose another. He's actually dropped out of DRS very early on here. It is medium compounds for Merckx compared to Dutch Tricks on the soft, so he obviously had a last minute change there from what we saw in the garage. Heading down in towards this flat out section of track. Look at Dutch Tricks. He's just got the run on the soft compound tyres. The softs will be much quicker than the mediums at this early stage in the race, and the Mercedes has gone clean around the outside in towards 11. Dutch Tricks now up onto the podium positions as Merckx has run a bit wide all over the curb. He's Ryder Dahl right behind on an equal compound of tyres, so we expect to see them on a fairly similar strategy here in this Grand Prix. Owen White will look to make some moves on the softs. However, Namsco rounding through Ascari and Stewart for the first lap. He'll lead the opening lap of the season here in the pre-season race in the P1 tier. He's hoping he can lead all 29 here in the pre-season race. Across the line, completes the opening lap of the Grand Prix. Wasn't a too hectic one. We've not lost anyone apart from a bit of a moment for Lakitu. He's only 3 seconds off the back. He's still with us. He's actually into the pits now. He's on the hard compound. Oh, maybe he's not going to be with us, actually. He may be retiring from this one. He's picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding. Here comes Owen White, though. He's got to look for a move in towards the heavy braking zone to turn 3. He's got to be last of the late breakers for Owen White. It is. Oh, it's oh so close. Hitting the Red Bull rider down in front. He's got a little bit argy-bargy with J. Cole. And they make contact. First contact of the season, and J. Cole has gone round. It's Owen White who's hit him, and it was really 2 into 1 does not go. It was Owen White on the outside. Not too sure if he left adequate space in the inside. Oh, Timo's gone as well, actually. We've lost 2 Timos. Oh, he smashed his own front wing there, and it's 2 stragglers who are gone here in Australia. Both still in the race, however, both picking up damage, I believe. J. Cole might be okay, actually, just looked like a spin. However, his tyres will be slightly damaged, and Lakitu's gone off the road as well. So it is 3 gone in sector number 1 on lap 2.
Yeah, it's certainly even drivers as good as Lakitu sometimes need a pre-season to get bugs out of the system, and that's uncharacteristic of him to speed into the pit lane like that, but he's on the optimum tyre for this stage of the race, so let's see what he can do with it. Now he seems to be back up to speed, but Timo, of course, I always said Tico, this is going to get confusing. Thanks, admin. Can we have some?
Yeah, it's going to get very confusing. Thanks, admins.
Yeah, but Jinx is doing okay in that orange McLaren, unless you're looking straight at it, then it's yellow. It's like a Renault from a few years ago, and suddenly it's orange again. This is very strange lighted, but anyway.
Oh, he's running wide.
Oh dear.
Jinx running wide there. That's uncharacteristic of the ERT man as well. As Merckx all over the back of Dutch Tricks here. Seems like the softs are already not working out too well for Dutch Tricks. He's 2 seconds off his teammate Tico, who is a second and a half off Namsco. Hopefully this isn't a tradition of the season where they're all spaced out after 3 laps in the Grand Prix. Timo into the pit lane now on the medium compound of tyres, and it's Lakitu who takes the spot off him. However, may have picked up a warning through turn number 1 there. Merckx, though, gonna get some DRS on Dutch Tricks next time round. Or I get some here actually, yeah, this is DRS zone now as well. He'll pick up some DRS here in towards the Ascari corner. It was reprofiled, of course, 90-degree right, as I have repeated many times already. But it was a brand new track for the 2022 season. Whether it made racing better or not, that's up to your own opinion. But it is certainly an interesting one to look at. We see Owen Wyatt piling on the pressure on Ryderdale now as well. He's trying to make these soft tyres work. He's already got up the inside of a couple of cars. He's got up the inside of J. Cole. Made contact with the Ferrari, of course. And he's trying to get up the inside of Ryderdale through this section as well. Here we go. Has he got the launch? It's going to have to be last of the late breaks. He's no car in front of him this time to possibly make contact with. It's definitely going to be a send here from Owen Wyatt. Let's pick up the inside. He's made contact with two cars early on here in the pre-season race. AXA and Jamie Mells are going to go clean round the outside. Ryderdale will still hold position on Owen Wyatt. However, that was maybe just a little bit too optimistic from Owen, and he's going to have to tone this down, I think, for the remainder of the Grand Prix, because that's two risks he's taken, two not really have paid off. Of course, he's still got the spot of Jaco, but whether the stewards will have something else to say about that is the question. Here he goes, clean around the outside. He's definitely got the straight line speed on Ryderdale, that's for sure. Cuts across back in front, and the Aston Martin's up to 7th. Could have been 5th, it's now 7th. However, he's actually dropped the spot in hindsight.
Yes, it's maybe a little bit too aggressive there for Owen in the early stages, but he's desperate to make these soft tyres make up for what he couldn't do in qualifying, I suppose. But that's a couple of misjudgments, I guess, at least there. But at least he helped the Ryderdale spin back round again and let him get on his way again before I overtook it. So that was quite helpful.
Hold on a second. Side by side for the final corner almost. Dutch Tricks and Merck. The soft tyres have fallen off very, very early on here in this Australian Grand Prix. Tico is into the pits and Merck is all over the back of Dutch Tricks. It's rather ironic that Merck is fighting a Merck. And once again, not going to get confusing. Here he goes though. Is he going to try a little bit of an Owen Wyatt move? Dutch Tricks defends to the inside, and Merck is going to have to go clean around the outside here. It's going to keep it up the inside then for turn number 4. It's side by side action through here. He's not going to go around the outside through 5 of Whitefold, is he? Oh, onto the curb. Merck is going to have to sit behind for this one. It was good defending from Tricks actually. He forced the Williams onto a poor line, an unorthodox line through that corner, and he ran wide because of it. So Dutch Tricks holds second position, realistically third after the pit stops, because Tico going for a large undercut. But Dutch Tricks under major pressure, and if Merck gets the better run through 11 and 12, he'll certainly be on his coattails.
Yes, absolutely. It's of course key to these two at the front on the side.
Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. Merck is up the inside, and Merck is clean through here in towards Ascari. Nails the braking as well as the Williams. That was an easy pass actually in towards turn number 13, and he's got the job done. Dutch Tricks just going to have to sit behind, doesn't have the pace like his teammate does seemingly in this Grand Prix, but Tico is behind as Merck is actually, or not Merck, apologies, Dutch Tricks is into the pits, and I thought he was about to smash the inside pit wall there, so thankfully he didn't, and we still have 12 runners in this Australian Grand Prix.
Yes, not all drivers like to crash into the wall there, unlike David Coulthard, who did that in real life, and he still swears blind it was a computer error, not a driver error. Who am I to argue with a 9-time Grand Prix winner? Anyhow, Tico's having a decent comeback from his earlier shenanigans with, I think it was Owen Wyatt into turn 3, wasn't it? He's recovered from that early incident, and Owen Wyatt himself is down in P10 now, but switched to the medium tyres, as it looks like is Namskull human? Look at the lead he's got already. He's on soft tyres.
Not really sure he is, in all honesty.
Down a little bit.
Yeah, I think if he could slow down and make this one interesting, it'd be appreciated. Timo has crashed actually around the final corner. Whether he has a front wing on that Alpine is the question. We need to wait and see. He does still have one, so it's just a spin for Timo, which is better, much better than front wing damage, because he had a full lap to do if it was front wing damage. Namsco, presume he's going to be into the pits in this lap. No, stays out for another. So tyre management on that AlphaTauri much better than the Mercedes, as Dutch Tricks picks up a time penalty, and that'll be a 3 seconds for multiple warnings. We'll see a few of those tonight. You always do see a few in a pre-season race, but that's what these are for. It's for to get the errors out of the way already. It's for drivers, commentators and owners to test the new season. Merck picks up a 3 seconds as well, as that's Timo gone again. Oh, it's Merck gone actually. Merck has gone wide at turn number 1 and he spun round. And the Williams is now out of the running. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2 here in this Grand Prix, and Merck has made a Very unfortunate error there. He's gone round and he's now going to drop behind Tico, who has a pit stop on him actually at this point in the race. So very good for Tico, very bad for Merckx at this stage.
Yes, it's almost... oh, there we go. Timo is wide again, and yep, it's a handful, this car. I'm not sure, I'm not seeing any damage on it, but if we had Taz, it would be able to give us a clear indication. I think there might be a little bit of end plate damage or something, because it's not handling the way that he thinks that he should. He's off the road, he's all over the place, and he's round again. Maybe he's hit the rear of the car, which makes it very, very unsettled on this game. It is very, very tricky to drive with rear damage, and he's about to be lapped.
He's been put a lap down, as Timo. He's going really slow, and imagine the Alpine's going to come into the pits. He is, and so is the car in front of him. So is Namsko, race leader. Yeah, there's definitely some suspension damage of some sort on this car for Timo. He's retired from the race, and understandably so. That car is not performing how it should. Clearly, there is some form of damage. Oh, it's a double stack for... Is it a double stack? No, it's not a double stack. It's Axa who takes the race lead. It was a change of AlphaTauris at the front. It was Axa who took the race lead, and it's Namsko now who's dropped to 5th. Is he going to get out in front of Tico? Oh, it's really close with Merckx, and Merckx is going to be really slow here. This is going to be a three-way battle, actually. Look at Tico. He's looking for the inside, which is now the outside, but he's looking for the inside once again. This is a battle for the race lead. Are we going to be 3 wide into turn number 3 here in the pre-season race? We aren't. We're going to be 2 wide. Tico's going to try switch up the inside here. He's going to try go around the outside of our provisional race leader, Namsko. Oh, it's really argy-bargy, and he's got it done as Tico. What a move in towards turn number 5. That's an unbelievable overtake around the outside, and Tico 10 PSV takes the provisional lead here in Australia. Great move on Namsko's on cold tyres. They'll heat up and we'll have a bit of a scrap here.
Well, that is an absolutely fantastic move. I think we saw a similar move last pre-season when we were at Imola for someone, and that just set the season up for a great season. I think we've just seen another move to say that we are going to have one heck of a fight here to whoever wins the championship at the end of the season. It's going to be well deserved with moves like that. I cannot wait to see what these guys do next. But AXA has a lead of about half a second over a Haas. It's not just Kevin Magnussen that can put a Haas in second place of a race, albeit it was a sprint race over the last weekend, but still, Kevin Magnussen, great job there in real life, and Jake Hull and Owen pick up simultaneous 3-second time penalties. That'll move Owen up to 6th, and this race has just got interesting. It's lap 9 of 29, and we still have many more overtakes to come here in One Hub Racing.
Yeah, they're pushing each other so hard here in the pre-season race. Can't imagine what they do if they're battling for a championship. Here comes Namsko. He's attacking Tico. He's used a lot of his battery. He's trying around the outside. He's going to try the up and under here on Tico. It's not going to work, and he's going to try and pull off the Tico move around the outside. It is not going to work on this occasion, and he's going to have to sit behind the Mercedes and hope he gets a better launch down through the Clark chicane. See what he can do here. Bit of a bobble from Tico, but he seems to got the better exit. However, the battery on board that AlphaTauri is much better. Oh, he's pushing him here, and he's going to go around the outside of Tico. Can Tico just keep with him in the straight line? This will be crucial for the Mercedes, because he's the inside line. No, he's not. Namsko goes through, and for P number 5, which is going to be P number 1 after everyone makes their pit stops, Namsko will be the man in that position. Tico in 6th. He's going to have to sit behind, and Merckx is dropping off here due to not having as fresh tyres as these guys. But the thing here is Tico, much older tyres in retrospective to Namsko's. Going to be interesting for the strategy.
Yeah, absolutely interesting for the strategy, but it's fascinating to watch all the same. Namsko should, in theory, have the advantage at the moment, but depends on how hard he has to defend, whether those tyres will be useful towards the end of this stint on lap 10.
Oh, Jinx is going for the hards. I don't think he's been informed it's a 2-stop, because you definitely don't want to use the hard tyres around here. If you're on a 2-stop, of course, you can't select 2 sets of medium compounded tyres now. So that's well, I suppose it could be a genius call. If there's a late safety car, you can box in for the softs. But Jinx gone for the hards. We did see one man on them, that was Lakitu. He lasted a lap on them before he just swapped them out, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, maybe it was worth trying something in the pre-season, if you're Lakitu, definitely.
Oh, yellow flag, it's on wide. Oh, and there's no front wing on that Aston Martin Cognizant either. We saw Sebastian Vettel, a rare Sebastian Vettel mistake through there this year in Formula 1. There's another Aston Martin going slowly without a front wing, and unfortunately I cannot say that mistake is just as rare as Sebastian Vettel's was, because it's not the first time Owen White's been caught up in something so far this race.
No, it's certainly not. But hopefully it's the last time, and maybe it might make the Aston Martin a little more controllable. I know it's a handful at the best of times, but that is the Haas of Jamie Mells.
Yeah, Jamie Mells.
At the end of lap 11, which is a solid stint. Now, what's he going to do from here?
What's he going to do? He's gone for the medium, so Jamie is definitely on the two-stop by regulation and by one-hub regulation. He's gone for the mediums. I imagine the goal is to do a soft stint come the end of the race, because he will do probably about 10 laps on this medium. He's come out in 7th, about 4 seconds behind Dutch Tricks. And the goal is to catch him, I would assume, because Dutch Tricks is in a little bit of a world of his own, of course. Provisional race leaders, Namsco and Tico, still within a second of each other. Merckx then within a second as well, however, not made one of two mandatory pit stops here on One Hub Racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely key to get your strategy on, and Jamie there has just done exactly the perfect pit stop to do the second stint of about the same. That's going to take him to round about lap 22 before he puts on the softs and fly at the end and see what he can do, and hopefully he can push himself from a potential good points to maybe a podium or better than that, but we'll see as the time unfolds. We're just under half distance of this race. There's a few laps to go before we get to that point, but everyone's done at least one stop now, so that's always good to see as the leaders on track are in. From mediums, are they going to go medium, or are they going to try something different as it is pre-season? It's always worth a go, but no, it's
medium for both.
Medium. So that's always good to see, and Namsco retakes the lead of this race.
Namsco retakes the lead. Tico's just dropped out of a second round as well, so we could see Namsco starting to run away with this one a little bit. Yellow flag, actually. Who is that one for? It's for, is it for Ryder Dahl out of the pits? Not quite sure, but the yellow flag is for there, because there was only guys exiting the pits, and everyone else's gaps has remained about the same, so I think it was just a pit car in the way there. As we do see Ryder Dahl come out in front of Jinx, apologies. I will get it right eventually, folks. Then Jamie Mells has come out actually right behind Axa, or Axa's come out just in front of Jamie Mells, and Jamie will be looking to attack Axa here for P number 5 on track. Two of the only guys without penalties. Oh, Jinx is out of the Grand Prix, and that's how those hard tyres have gone. Could get the first safety car of the season. We absolutely will get the first safety car of the season. This tries to spanner in the strategy now. There is the Strandon McLaren on the left hand side, just before the Clark chicane, and I promise this is the last time I'll say this, he's jinxed himself unfortunately there with the optimised strategy. And Jinx is into the wall. There we go. I've said it twice. It's out of my system. We won't have to hear that horrendous pun for the rest of the season.
Oh, we will, because I'll do it at some point. But it looks like he's having a Jinx as well, because he's
both front runners in the pits. Is there going to be hard tyres to the end here, possibly?
Based on the evidence of what I've seen from Lakitu and Owen Wyatt and Jinx, probably not. The hard tyre
doesn't another set of mediums for Tico.
Way to go, but...
Oh, double stack for Mercedes, actually. Chance for Jamie Mells. Oh, Merckx gone for the softs. Okay, we're going to have a lot of split strategies. And Namsco's gone for the hards. We're having a full Pirelli rainbow here. Where's Gasly on his full wets when you need him from the full rainbow? For its only time in Formula 1 Germany 2018, where every single compounded tyre was on track at the same time. And there was a lot more back in 2018. It wasn't just your soft, medium, hard, inter wets. You had your super softs, your hyper softs, your ultra softs. Your
regular softs.
There was the ultra hards as well. There was many other ones that I can't even remember really. Back when softs were yellow and super softs were red, and the hards were always white, I think. No, the mediums were white. The hards were...
Hards used to be blue, and people were like, aren't they wet tyres? So they changed it. I don't know why, but they never see wet tyres anymore.
No, no you don't. You see red flags.
Anyhow. That's certainly livened up this race. He was getting a little bit... there
we go. Yeah, the hard tyres were blue. Sorry, I did Google the Pirelli rainbow. The super hards were orange, hard tyres were blue, mediums were white, softs were yellow, super softs were red, ultra softs were purple, and the hyper softs were pink. I won't lie, from a commentary perspective, much prefer this simplified system.
Yep. Although, I'll be honest, like, at some point I would still call the soft, medium, hard options or primes. So that took me a while to get used to having different things to say. So
well, you're not really wrong, because some F1 teams still call them the options and the primes.
Exactly.
So you're not totally wrong.
Well, I'm right. Yay.
As Jamie Mells
now before I look like an idiot. Anyway.
Jamie Mells has got across the line to lead a lap in one of racing. His first race, of course, this pre-season race, and his first lap led, hopefully, of many. We're almost at halfway distance here in this Grand Prix, and it is Hassman who leads. It's not really a lead on track, because those guys behind him have all made their second mandatory stop, apart from Merckx. As Lakitu has 18 seconds of penalties. That's not great.
Oh dear.
That is
He'll get that out of his system season, but did he speed into pits again?
Well, we're going to find out on the safety car. We'll have a goosey gander at the race director if it would like to come up, and we will see what Lakitu has received as penalties for. Oh my goodness me, there was only 2 laps in this Grand Prix where he has not received a warning.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. He was a 5-second time penalty in the opening lap. There was a warning on lap 2. There was a penalty plus 2 warnings on lap 3. Penalty plus warning lap 4. 2 warnings. Lap 6, penalty plus warning lap 7, none on 8, warning 9, penalty plus 4 warnings on lap 10, penalty plus 3 warnings on lap 11, penalty warning lap 12, and a warning on lap 13. That was under the safety car. So unfortunately, it's not been the best of pre-season races for Lakitu. Hopefully he can redeem himself a little bit, and the safety car will be in this lap. It'll be Jamie Mells that gets us underway, the rookie in the field. There's a few rookies in the field this season, but Jamie's the one I'm pointing out here, because he's leading the Grand Prix on the PC, of course. One of our cross-play drivers. It's traditionally a PlayStation League is One Hoop Racing, but we have brought some console diversity for this season, and Xbox and PC both allowed in the league. And you can see Jamie, Merckx and J. Cole all on the PC, as now we see Jamie backing them up through the penultimate corner. For the final corner, he will go on the exit of it, surely. He's going to try catch out Namsco, whose tyres will be absolutely stone cold as we go racing here in Australia once again. And look at this race start from Merckx on the soft compound tyres. He's going to be flying on this opening restart lap. 15 out of 29 here in the ERT Melbourne Grand Prix of Australia. Oh, Axel's off the circuit, and he's cutting some grass there. Lucky not to spin Ryder Dow, just avoiding him at the back, and Lakitu's lost some spots. Here comes Tico, round the outside of Namsco for our provisional race lead. Here comes Tico. Oh, he's gone round the outside again, and Namsco, and this is becoming a little bit of a Tico move. Merckx is trying the long way around the outside. He tried it earlier on a couple of drivers. It did not work. Did not work this time either, but he's not round wide on this occasion, and he's still on the back of our Alpha Tauri here through the or towards the Clark chicane, I should say, through 7 and 8, and now towards 9 and 10. Here comes Merckx, tucked right up the AlphaTauri. That AlphaTauri burning its battery, using a lot of straight line speed. There's the Mercedes, the Dutch Tricks, right behind Merckx as well here, in towards 11 and 12. Let's see what Merckx can do through here. It's a very good restart lap so far for the Williams, but if he could make a place up, it'd be even better. It's another 3-second time penalty for Lakitu. That takes him to 21. No late on the brake moves for Merckx. He'll have to sit behind for Ascari and Stewart, and the penultimate 2 corners of Prost and turn number 16. Owen Wyatt as well pressuring Axel. He's on the better tyres compared to the whole back of the field, who are all on the hards.
Yes, it's certainly going to be interesting to see if those on hards can switch them on at the optimum time and take them as deep as they need to. The start of lap 16 of 29, it's definitely going to be a challenge for some of them, but Merckx on the softs would be hoping to get through.
Oh, here comes Merckx. Here he comes. He's going to try the outside on Namsco. It's going to be a very difficult move because that gap is closing by the AlphaTauri, but Merckx is just going to have to sit behind for this moment. It was good defending from Namsco, whether he left the cars with. That's for the stewards to decide, not us. But it was close, but just enough, I think. Here comes Merckx, bit of moving. by Namsco. However, that's where the track goes, so stewards won't say anything about that. That's all legal. Here comes Merck, though. This one is also going to be legal. Clean round the outside. That's great straight line speed from Merck. He's on the better tyres. He will get the better exit. And Dutch Tricks could actually look for this one as well. Of course, there'll be a little bit of a slipstream effect down in towards turn number 11, and Dutch Tricks will have to pressure Namsco here while he's much better tyres. He really is pressuring. This one's not going to take as long as Merck did. Almost on the grass here, heading down towards turn number 13 of Ascari. Late on the brakes for Dutch Tricks. Just pushes Namsco wide. Namsco keeps a car inside the curb, and he's going to be able to hold it round the outside for Stewart. No, great move from Dutch Tricks, and Dutch Tricks is up to 4th here. AlphaTauri 5 and 6. This hard tyre not working at this early point in the second or the third stint for these drivers.
Yes, I was going to say the Mercs are looking pretty racy as opposed to Merck, who is just looking to hold on at the moment, but he is in P3 on the soft tyre, so he should have a little bit of advantage for the next few laps, of course, but Dutch should start to rein him in a little bit after that, as the soft tyres just can go a little longer this stage of the race, but will still die off quicker than the medium tyres will. And Namsco in P5 is in a great position as well. He seems to have controlled the early struggles with the cold hards, and he's getting them up to temp now, and he's in P5 and can well still go on to win this race later on with this strategy. Owen Wyatt up into P7, but Lakitu still struggling with track limits down in P10.
Yeah, here comes Owen Wyatt. Is he going to look for a move on AXA possibly here? He's got the much better tyres up the front as well. We're going to have to just jump quickly because Jamie Mells is under big pressure from Tico. Oh, wobble from Tico actually. Jamie Mells is absorbing this pressure, and Tico is just going to have to sit behind for this moment. He did not get the exit he wanted. What about Owen Wyatt? Is he going to go for a move? The two AlphaTauris are actually battling in front, so he is kind of stuck. The AlphaTauris acting as a cork in the bottle, going too wide into the apex. You're not going to get an Aston Martin squeezed in that sandwich. That is for sure, as Ryder Dahl goes up the inside of a struggling Lakitu at the back of the grid. We're on to lap number 18 here. The laps are taken by in Albert Park. It's been a good race so far for a pre-season race. Of course, the main races will be that so much better, so you don't want to miss them. For all three of our One Hub Racing tiers, AXA is all over the back. Oh, AXA is all over the track limits as well, because he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. Namsco, Tico, Jamie Mells, only 3 not having penalties so far. That could be crucial come the end of this Grand Prix. Here comes Owen Wyatt and AXA. Oh, well, hold on. There's a car around. That's an AlphaTauri. That's AXA round. And AXA was in a high-speed spin there. Not too sure what happened, but AXA was spun. And it looks like Merck to spun as well. Oh no, Merck to spun on those soft compound tyres. Then he's dropping towards the back of the grid. 2 spins on this lap. And it's that old phrase again, when you're waiting on a bus, one doesn't come and then 2 will come all of a sudden. It's the same with spins in Albert Park Sector 1.
Yeah, so if it's been anything like my luck the last couple of days, you wait for a bus and 2 go longer ones and you still miss both of them. Anyway, that's just a little side note of what's gone on this week, but other than that, it's been pretty good. Life is pretty good in general, but for now, Jamie Rose must be loving life out in front of a race.
Oh, J. Cole's run wide here. Sorry to jump over you. I thought Lakitu was going to get up the inside, but he's backed out of it. Lakitu not risking a front wing up the inside in towards Stewart Corner. J. Cole's run wide again. J. Cole actually in the pits. He's struggling way too much on these hard tyres. Might have damage, actually. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, next week we'll be able to tell you, because we'll have the TAS telemetry system. As he's pulled into the pit lane, front wing change and retirement for J. Cole, so that's the end of that story, unfortunately. Of course, Jamie Mells here does still have to serve a mandatory pit stop, so that safety car didn't necessarily help him. Owen Wyatt picks up a 3-second time penalty, as there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Owen Wyatt's actually out of the Grand Prix. Owen Wyatt has come a cropper and he's out of the Grand Prix, and the virtual safety car is out.
Oh, yes.
Full safety car. Full safety car is now out.
As Merck leaves the pit lane. I just saw the safety car follow him out there. That's quite a cool image to actually see the safety car come out. But I don't know what happened to Owen Wyatt. I suspect if it's in sector... Oh, well, see what happens now as Merck comes out of the pit lane. We're down to 8 riders, but there's still an awful long way to go in this race. Lap 19 of 29. Will those that need to stop take advantage of this safety car and get onto the soft tyres, as they should go to the end of this race from this point on with all the...
Ooh, it'll be close, you know. I think it'll be close.
With the fuel, but there is extra rubber on the track, so they should be definitely more than enough space, especially if you have 2 laps behind the safety car. You won't
I completely forgot we'll have safety car laps. The only one left to pit is Jamie Mells, who pulls into the pit lane now. We'll see what tyres he goes for. Everybody else, I imagine, except maybe some people who want to box for the softs. Namsco stays out, or Namsco's in, sorry. Dutch Tricks is the one that stays out. Namsco's in, possibly for the softs. We'll see what Jamie Mells goes for. Of course, it's the soft compound tyres. He's nothing to lose. Namsco goes for a set of the mediums. He had one in the locker. And everybody really pitting here. Surprising, I didn't expect it. It's just the 2 Mercs that stays out. And Merc himself. He could still pit, although he's on fresh tyres, so he might get a few spots actually if he stays out.
Yeah, he's definitely stayed out. AXA seems to have a bit of an issue in the pit lane, as he will be passed by Mercked.
Yeah, AXA will start from the back of the field.
Yeah, just before the line he gets past, so that is perfectly good. And both Mercs stayed out, which this is getting a little bit too difficult for me to say. Merck's Mercked and all of that, but I'll work on it for next week. I clearly need the extra practice, so thank you for the One Hub pre-season invitation to get everything out of my system and remember how to talk in front of people once again.
Yeah, thank you to those watching, of course, the stream here for the pre-season race. Jamie Mells on softs, no penalties. It's not looking too shabby for the Haas.
No, he's driving a fantastic race at the moment. He's on the soft, so in theory he should be able to hopefully get past both of the drivers in front of him, and hopefully just pull away to the what could be a memorable pre-season result. But of course we still have probably 1 more safety car lap to do, and then it will be hopefully racing to the end. But we'll see. Tico's got a little bit ahead of his teammate there just to see, but I think we are definitely going to have 1 more safety car lap. So yeah, unless it goes in, it would be a very late call now, but I have seen it around this track do that before. But we are going 1 more lap under the safety car. Everyone is bunched up, so yep, we should be going at the start of lap 22 into green flag conditions, which will give us hopefully a grandstand finish.
That will help Jamie Mells, of course, and Lakitu, both on the softs. Lakitu's on one extreme to the other. He's been on the worst tyre by far, and he's been on the best tyre by far. At different points in this Grand Prix, Jamie Mells, a bit of psychological warfare maybe on Dutch Tricks, just getting right on the back of the EDOS sponsored rear wing. Of course, Jamie Mells, if he could win here, would take his first One Hub Racing win. Only one man in real Formula 1 has taken his maiden win at Albert Park. It was Eddie Irvine for Ferrari in 1999. And maybe Jamie Mells could follow. Ferrari powered car, so he certainly has all the historical statistics in his favour. Here on lap 21 of 29 of the ERT Melbourne Australian Grand Prix. Of course, make sure to stick around, make sure to join us next week where the real action starts, let's say. It's round number 1 of the One Hub Racing Season 22 P1 Tier Championship.
Yep, absolutely. It should be a fantastic start of the season based off of this evidence anyway, but we still have a safety car to finish off right now, so we are going to go on board with Tico as he now becomes the pace setter. He can go as late as he wants. Of course, not yet. That would be way too early, and of course, I think if he went now, the game would slow him down, so he's just doing his best to warm his tyres to the optimum, and of course, that will make Dutch do exactly the same thing behind him. Jamie seems to be a little bit less bothered about tyre temperatures right now. A little bit too early perhaps to warm them properly up, but he will go very shortly, and hopefully he can get a great launch, and we are about to go race it again.
Here we go then. He's got to wait with the safety car. Safety car is in the pit lane now, so he can go from this point onwards, but he's got to wait for an optimal time to go. Of course, he does have his teammate behind. That's one saving grace for Tico. Slows them up in towards the final corner, and rounding the final corner, still not looking to go. This is going to be very reactionary for Tico and the safety car restart. Holds, go! Namsco. We go racing here in Albert Park. Really slow restart. We're almost 4 wide here. It's a proper NASCAR restart here. Namsco has just about got past, but after the line, that is as per regulation. Jamie Mel's up the inside, looking to just not get hit here because he's wider down right in his tail as well. He's going to try go around the outside of Namsco. Just clearly has the heat in his tyres. Merck has gone to the back. Lakitu around the outside of Jamie Mel's, and he's gone for an audacious move. That's Lakitu around the outside of Jamie Mel's. Does he pull it off? Oh, he has. It's an unbelievable move from Lakitu, who it's not been his best of evenings here in Australia, but that is a stunning move for Lakitu. Jamie Mel's has dropped to 5th here, and he was on the optimal tyres in 3rd. Tico has gone up the front. No penalties for him. Dutch Tricks pulling a bit of a gap on Namsco as well, but Namsco has been the outright favourite so far this evening, so he's still got one more word to say. Lakitu pushing, however, I feel his penalties might come to hamper him later on in the Grand Prix, but that's not really important now. We'll talk about that all later, because he's pushing for a podium. He is doing what Jamie Mel's needed to do. Is it going to be a move up the inside and towards a scary corner? No, it is not. He's taken a real bounce off the curb on the inside there. Red sausage curb. 90-degree angle on that one. It's a fierce curb. If you're going to hit it too much, you don't want to get the floor damage from it. But not as much of a gap pull for Tico as we expected. Those old mediums are not working out too well for him, as here comes Jamie Mel still pushing on Lakitu.
Yeah, it looked absolutely phenomenal to see the Alfa Romeo of Lakitu bouncing across the curb from on board with Jamie Mel's just a few moments ago. It was a great visual for me, at least. But yeah, it all depends on those penalties. He's going to try and make as much of a gap up as he can now, but I think he's going to run out of laps very shortly to do anything with it, so he'll be lucky if he finishes in the top 8. There is 8, but you know what I mean.
There's Lakitu. He is pressuring Namsco into a move here. Namsco's trying to pressure Dutch Tricks, who's just holding it back a little bit from his teammate Tico in P number 1. We'll see. Lakitu, can he look for it into 11? Can he just find a way past Namsco to get on the podium provisionally? I say provisionally, of course, because he does have a lot of penalties. He's got a better exit out of 11 and 12, and here comes Lakitu to the outside. Namsco defends the inside. Lakitu breaks much later than the AlphaTauri on his inside. He's going to go clean around the outside on the AlphaTauri. This allows Jamie Mel's through as well. It's 2 and 1 for Namsco. Oh, on the inside, almost making contact with the Alfa Romeo, and he's almost been passed by Ryder Dahl as well. Namsco loses 2 spots, almost 3, and Lakitu and Jamie Mel's are through. Jamie Mel's now a provisional P2. If he can somehow find a way to get past these 2 drivers while his tyres are optimal, he would find himself battling for a race win. But as it stands right now, he is the best challenger to Tico in P1, because the rest all have time penalties. Lakitu, quite a few, so we'll have to wait and see how this one plays out for Tico. If he was to pick up a penalty, it'd be quite a crucial moment in this Grand Prix as well, in the pre-season race. Of course, there is nothing to play for here, so you can take that extra risk. We'll see who takes the most risk around Albert Park. That's the real question here. Is Lakitu still pushing? He just wants to race at this point. Just wants to make some moves, just wants to get the job done, and he just wants to taste the podium champagne again, even if it is just provisionally.
Yes, he's definitely driving a lot more like a former One Hub Racing top tier champion in the last
wobble from Dutch Tricks actually there. Big wobble from Dutch Tricks. Could Lakitu maybe dive one up the inside? He'd have to be a brave boy if he was to do that one. Lakitu is a great driver, but I don't think anyone would get that one stopped if they broke 50 metres later than that into that corner. Of course, it's very late on the brakes into some of the corners. There's not a lot of heavy braking zones. Yellow flag. It is Ryder Dahl who's gone round to the back. It's an unfortunate end to the pre-season race for Ryder Dahl. Jamie Mel's all over the back of a fellow Ferrari-powered car in front of him. Ferrari-powered cars don't usually perform the best around Albert Park, but they're performing really well here today, as of course there's equal engines, but the only thing that's different about them is the sound. Will the soft tyres start to fall off soon? That's the question. Still a few laps to go in this Grand Prix. Of course, they've only really did 3 proper laps of racing. We did have some safety car laps jumbled into the mix. Same for everyone's tyres apart from Ryder Dahl's. It's just pit for fresh. They all have about 3 laps under the safety car on them as well. Through turns 6 and 7. Lakitu still pressuring the Mercedes in front of him. Dutch Tricks is holding on really well here, actually. I'll give him that. He's certainly holding on quite well. We'll see. Can Lakitu make a move into that corner where he made the move on Namsco?
Yeah, so we'll certainly see about that, but right, it all comes out the pits on the soft. So just going to have a little bit of fun for the remaining few laps. But of course, usually we would be reminding people that there are fastest laps inside and outside the top 10 for one-up racing, but today there's only 8 drivers at the moment, so that would be out of the window. But just as a refresher for next week, that is always going to be a possibility for drivers in 19th and having a shocking race to still get a fastest lap point, because every point matters and every position matters here in one-up racing. But this is going to be a barnstormer of a finish. You have 4 cars looking to try and take the provisional race win, and only 2 of them realistically will get that, and Lakitu's just got another penalty that takes him to almost disqualification level of penalties there.
Oh, so Lakitu breaks late. It's a mistake. It's another mistake that's crept into Lakitu's driving, and Jamie Mells is going to go clear around the outside. The Hassman is up to 3rd. One more car till he can really attack for the race win. In terms of penalties, you know, if I was Ryder Dahl, I'd keep pushing, because there's still a chance he could get Lakitu here in this Grand Prix. Oh, hold on a second. Speaking of penalties, it's our race leader who's picked one. Jamie Mells in race winning position.
Yes, he certainly is, and I was just a few moments ago I said only 2. Now we're down to just 1 that could realistically get it. But if that changes, then yeah, you'll be the first to know here.
Oh, Axel attacking his teammate Namsko, and Lakitu's ran wide. Namsko's going to have an attack around the outside on Lakitu, and the battle for the race win might come from 3rd and 4th. Lakitu keeps the car up the inside. Namsko does what he did to him a few laps ago, but Namsko's slow on the exit, and his teammate has ran into the AlphaTauri rear wing. Oh, Lakitu round. Oh, it's chaos for Lakitu and Namsko, and they've both come to contact. Axe's got a 5-second time penalty for a collision with his teammate. Axe is up to 4th, and now Jamie Mells is in an even more comfortable position. He just needs to coast at home on these tyres for a couple laps, and he will take a one-up racing race. Never mind. Forget everything I just said. Never mind. Jamie Mells picks up a 3-second time penalty. Dutch Tricks is weaving in celebration. He's trying to throw the Hassman off possibly there, and Lakitu is retired in the pit lane. Ryder Dahl will get that position, it turns out. Jamie Mells now has to pass 2 cars for this race win, because there is 3 seconds on board, all of these cars battling for the race win. It's an even fight, I suppose. It's an even fight.
Yeah, I guess whoever comes first on the track now will certainly be more possible to get the provisional win that they were a few moments ago. It looked for all the money that Jamie Mells was just going to coast it home, and then he went a little bit too greedy with an apex and got himself.
Oh, he's got a great launch here, though. He's got a fantastic launch on Dutch Tricks, and I think Dutch Tricks, the only reason he's staying in front here is because of that DRS. But Jamie Mells, is he going to try the long way around the outside? Forces the Mercedes to brake late. Tried me up and under. It's not going to work. The Mercedes just about picked his braking point absolutely perfectly, and Dutch Tricks is going to stay in front. Oh, no, he's not! Huge wobble into the wall goes the Mercedes, and Jamie Mells is now broken that Mercedes 1-2 around Albert Park. We've seen that a few times before, and Tico is now under pressure as well. These mediums and softs both falling off at the same time. Dutch Tricks saunters into the pits. It's a horrible end to the pre-season race for Dutch Tricks. He'd no tricks up his sleeve, and Jamie Mells now is attacking Tico for the race win. This is going to be the battle on track for the race win. This is what we'll see a few times in one-up racing this season, no doubt, and you're going to want to stick around for it in all 3 tiers. There'll be some fantastic championship fights. Jamie Mells still pressuring Tico into a move. Tico just needs to try hold it. He's held it very well since the safety car restart. These tyres will not be feeling great on either car at this moment in time, but what do they feel worse on? We've seen some mistakes from the Mercedes. Both Mercedes plural. We've seen some mistakes as Axe is out of the race as well. We are down to 6 here in One Hub Racing pre-season. Namsko will pick up 4th. Merck is going to end up on the podium here somehow. I have no idea how he's done that, but Merck will end up on the podium. Jamie Mells, what can he do? Can he possibly take his maiden one-hub racing win in the pre-season race? Whether counting the statistics or not, I'm not so sure, but it's certainly the confidence booster he'll want to start his season. Through Stewart Corner for the second final time. We'll have 1 lap remaining. It's going to be an oh-so-close battle between Jamie Mells and Tico. It's not a battle we expected coming into this one. Jamie was not on the pace really that much in qualifying. However, the strategy has actually worked out really well in his favour when we didn't think it would. In towards turn number 1 of Jack Brabham Corner. Then it's Alan Jones Jones corner. And now down towards turn number 3. One of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit. Both cars pushing to the absolute maximum here in Albert Park. Jamie Mells to the outside. Tico's going to defend the inside. Jamie forces the Mercedes to a very tight inside line, and he's going to try up the inside. Tico pulled off a fabulous move through here, but Jamie Mells is going to pull off a fabulous move through here. Side by side, Tico runs Jamie off the circuit, and Tico will keep P1 for the time being. Jamie's not going to be happy about that one at all, and he'll be looking to try and get the move in towards the flat-out Clark chicane. Here he comes, the Hassman, burning all his battery. He has slipstream, and quite crucially, the DRS advantage here on lap 29 of the final, or for the final lap here in the pre-season race. 11 and 12, who gets the better run? Both tyres really falling off now at this point. If anyone makes a mistake, it's going to be really crucial. Can Jamie Mells possibly dive one up the inside in towards Ascari of 13? He's going to look for it. He's going to look for it. It's going to be the outside is the option for Jamie Mells, and he's forced off the circuit, and that's going to be it. Tico will take the win here in the pre-season race. Jamie Mells couldn't do anything about it. He was forced off the circuit on 2 separate occasions by Tico, so there may be a steward's investigation into it, but it'll be Jamie. Oh, Jamie has almost lost the podium, but Tico will end the final corner and they'll take the opening win here. He will start like he means to finish. Tico wins in Australia for the pre-season race. Jamie Mells will get second on debut here in Albert Park, and Mert will come across the line to finish in third. Nabsco will come home fourth, the only driver actually not to get a penalty in this Grand Prix. Hopefully that improves for next week. Then it'll be Dutch Tricks who comes across the line in fifth. He's gone for a fastest lap attempt, I believe, here after making a mistake with just about 3 laps to go. Here comes Dutch Tricks across the line. It's going to be the fastest lap. It absolutely will be. And then it will be Ryder Dahl who'll finish in 6th.
Yeah, that was quite an entertaining end. All of a sudden it just seemed to pop off a little bit in drips and drabs. But yeah, definitely drivers were giving it everything. You can't say the pre-season doesn't matter to these drivers, but in-game driver of the day goes to Jamie Mells there. But we will decide our own individual drivers of the day very shortly. Just to get us back into the habit, I suppose, more than anything. But I will be silent for a moment while we go through the provisional, or very short, provisional race results.
Yeah, just looking at the podium now, we will go to the provisional results. Not too sure whether Jamie will be too happy with Tico there, and we may get another British-Dutch rivalry for a championship, but we'll have to wait and see. There is the champagne being sprayed, not too much to celebrate. It's a pre-season race at the end of the day, and there has been some good data collected by teams and drivers and commentators. Hopefully, during the course of the season, we don't curse as many people. Here is the full, short but full race results from Albert Park. It was Tico who took the win for Mercedes-AMG Petronas ahead of Jamie Mells in second, followed by Merckx in third. Namsco will finish fourth for AlphaTauri. He's definitely one to watch in this season, followed by Dutch Tricks in fifth. Ryder Dahl finishes sixth ahead of AXA in seventh, Lakitu in eighth, and Owen White ninth. J. Cole 10th, and then it's Jinx in 11th, and Timo finishing in 12th for Alpine, of course. Lakitu, Owen White, J. Cole, Jinx, and Timo, your non-finishers. And AXA actually as well in this Grand Prix, the Australian Grand Prix. But who is your driver of the day, Matthew?
Well, I'm going to start off with being a little bit probably stealing someone from your shortlist. There's been quite a few candidates, but not quite as many with the full grid. But I'm going to go with someone I've never seen in one operation before. I'm going to go with Jamie Mells.
Oh, you stole my one.
Yes. I have to do something consistently, don't I? But anyway, yeah, the question I'd like to ask him was, do you think that late safety car really could have given you the race win today by that quick mistake which cost you 3 seconds in time penalties? Do you think next week you'll have enough in you to win the first race of the season?
I think my only other option is to really go for a Tico, and I'm just going to ask, how does it feel to... sorry, let's restart that one. I'll ask, is it a confidence booster to win the pre-season race, and what do you think you can do in the remainder of the season? But that's going to round us off here in Wood of Racing P1 tier tonight in Australia. We're certainly going to have more great races like that one, folks. You don't want to miss it. 7:45 British time every Friday evening for the P1 tier. Of course, you can check out the P2 tier and the P3 tier as well. I believe it's 6:30 and 7 o'clock for those ones, of course. Make sure to watch them. Watch all 3 tiers. You've nothing better to be doing on a Friday night. Don't lie to yourselves. Watch us here in One Hub Racing. But Matthew, any final thoughts on what is going to be a great season here in the P1 tier?
just more of the same next week. Hopefully, a few less penalties and a few more drivers. I'm sure we'll have a fantastic season 22 opener. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, folks. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you next time.